roundtables and events in India and all around the world, in Latin America and in Europe and Central Asia. Today the subject, what we are trying to discuss is like buzzword, the AI, artificial intelligence and its application. But at the end of the day, the goal is just like to get people together, to get to know each other, and to have like valuable conversation, which can be helpful to those who are going to watch the video on YouTube or the other channels, and also helpful for yourself, right? Now, I think that there is not a single boardroom where people are not talking about the AI. It's so much of a buzzword, but really what's practical in it, and that's what we are going to discuss. Before we start the conversation, we want like everyone to speak, so let's try to keep it like reasonably short so that everyone gets to say something. Let me do a bit of introduction. Here on the screen you have all the names who are participating, but some people are really but there are some people who are on the other events, so not everyone is here, but I think we are going to watch the record. So like, really briefly, a few words about ourselves. So our company is part of Yango Group. Yango is a 24,000 people technological company originating from Russia. We are over 30 countries. We have food deliveries. We have cloud technologies, maps, streaming services, payment services, and anything to do with tech. And I'm essentially Chief Operating Officer of Yango Tech, which is the technological unit which powers the grocery retailers. At this moment, we run through our systems over $1.3 billion, and we have over, I think by now, over 600 dark stores, gray stores, and retail stores powered by our system. And I think by this year, it's probably going to be double or triple of that. And every single day, there is over 250,000 orders delivered through our systems. So that's super brief about us. So what we suggest to discuss today is that in terms of AI. So I think we can divide the AI onto two different types of AI, which is generative AI, which is the new wave of the artificial intelligence, and the old good proven AI, the machine learning, and something that most of us have been using already for decades, optimizing our businesses and helping us to squeeze these last percentages of EBITDA from the business. So I think this is how we frame the definition of the AI, and I suggest that we start from looking into what solutions are in the spotlight. We have like rather in-depth analysis of who is using what are the buzzwords, and I'm going to send all the information, so whatever you have a conversation with possibly your board members or the top management, then you can share this information knowing who is using what. But here we really want to discuss and have the maximum possible contribution from the participants of the round table. Now, let's start from maybe these suggested topics, and what do we think at this table? What are the hottest topics of the ones suggested? Or maybe if there is something that we are missing out here, what is that you think is applicable in the modern retail world? What are the AI tech approaches which you are using? Anyone wants to say? Yeah, okay.
We use AI and ML for entire predictive inventory and management. Yeah, so we don't have a purchase team at all. Everything is being done by AI and ML. Of course, it's taken us 4 years of data, and that's when we reach the stage where we don't have any purchase team in our office, and everything is done through predictive analytics and forecasting, and a good knowledge of who our customer is, what they're buying, and what city. So whenever we start, we just start a basic structure of what is the product, more product mix that should go into that store, and post that there's no human intervention at all. So immediately you select the brand and it's over. That's what we do, and we're starting generative AI. By the way, I will take
So it seems like you're essentially working for demand forecasting and inventory management.
2 and 3.
You're number 2. Okay. Who is here using any other aspect? Who wants to add on the number 2 on demand forecasting and inventory management?
I think what we've also seen in our stores, major issue which every retailer is facing is on most of there are a lot of markdown happening, there are excess inventory which is going to happen. So I think demand forecasting and inventory management I think is the major thing because that will also help in the top line as well as in the bottom line. So that is where we are working how to better forecast, and since most of the stores are having a high fresh produce. So how we can be more logical and how we can do that because they are more perishable and they are more susceptible for the losses. So how we can do a better forecasting of fresh produce. That is where we are working with on the AI. And then there are in the imported, like there's a lot of retailer who are also selling a lot of gourmet products, and they are always having that issues on availability. So how we can tackle that availability? I think that there also AI is playing a very important role in tackling the availability issues through the proper forecasting and inventory management.
So that is another one essentially on number 2, and I guess a little bit on the number 3, right?
Number 3, I think, is more of from the pricing part. If you look at, there's a dynamic pricing which is required for most of the retailers are fighting on the competitiveness of the pricing. So I think if you implement AI, a dynamic pricing module which can be built on the real time basis, the customer feedback, what inventory you are carrying. So the pricing policy I think is one thing which normally if we apply AI it will be more logical and it will also help in the profitability as well as maximizing the sales. I think there also there is a lot of decision in on the pricing policy where AI is playing a very important role.
So, yes.
We are using assortment, or not per se AI, but we are using assortment analytics. Like we analyze the number of families visited to us and the basket of assortment he has picked from us. So suppose if he has picked up a toothpaste, why he has not picked up a toothbrush? If he has picked up a bath soap, why he has not picked up suppose a shampoo or a hair oil? If he's buying basmati rice from us or he's not buying atta from us. So we are doing that type of assortment from a family point of view and change our assortment or pricing for that particular consumer, trying to reach into WhatsApp channel and trying to push him to buy more from us so that the same customers buy more value of goods and completes his cycle from only one store. So we are using that type of assortment technique.
So I think to add that on the assortment side, what we are also seeing the heat map. Heat map is the one technology which we are now going to implement in some of the stores where we'll see where the customer is spending more time in that area, and accordingly we can rework on the layout, we can rework our assortment strategy. This is the heat map analytics, that is what we have seen and we are going to implement in one store.
I think Avinash, what you just said, customer behavior tracking and matching is what we are looking after. We've also implemented this in the store. The heat map is already live in our store. So what we're trying to track there is the customer is picking up a product and he's putting it back in the shelf, not buying it, not completing a purchase. What can be the particular reason? Is it near expiry product? Is it price issues? Is it, if the merchandising is not done properly, if the product is placed somewhere else, far away. So this is what we're already integrating into our store. However, we need more support in this format wherein all the information and the management information of data for placing products in the right place being at our fingertips in order to play. I mean, if we have to dive more into taking more data out of all of this coming down, spend more time, rather than having a tool to just simplify the data and bring us the outcomes, I think that is what we're after currently.
It is actually very interesting what you said at the beginning. You mentioned that you have the way of tracking what item was picked from the shelf and then put back on the shelf, right? Do you use some sort of computer vision technology or how do you track that?
Currently we're just using AI cameras.
AI.
Yeah. So they just using the cameras right now, so it also helps us account. So we're basically a 4-story gourmet grocery. We're also tracking our footfalls on each floor, in each section, by these AI cameras and why the products were picked and put back. So that is currently that we're trying. However, we still need help and integration into a better technology of being very, I would say, to the point in terms of what was paid, what was not paid. We still have to kind of invest into manpower to overlook all of these things. So what we really are after is it should be a bit smoother the process of getting the data down.
Well, I think before the generative AI, it was not really possible to, with high precision, to determine what item was taken from the shelf. So you could see from which shelf and somehow determine. But now, with the modern tech, we are able to achieve something about 98% precision recognizing the items, which is pretty high. And so I was wondering, have you managed to measure the impact, the financial impact on business from this technology yet, or is it still like more or less on the pilot stage?
It is more or less the pilot stage. However, with the data that we get, we change the product merchandise. So it helps us increase business definitely. But since it's more on a pilot stage, we're still trying to get into the
Oh wow, I see. Okay, very, very interesting. I mean, let's definitely stay in touch, and we will share the results of for our partners who are utilizing our AI. And I'm very curious to see the results of your AI. I think okay, another one. Let me hand over the microphone to you.
Thank you. So, as you were saying, the AI part, specifically with what Lalit was talking about, when a customer picks up a product. So, you see that a lot in Western countries, specifically if you talk about America and such stores like Amazon Go stores, where a customer just enters and just picks up something and just walks out of the store and it's billed to him directly. So that is something that here people are trying to achieve. And also, India is one of the only or very less, I would say, not a common market which follows a MSRP, which is the maximum selling retail price, which the Western countries don't. In Western countries, the pricing can be modified into it can be high, it can be low, depending on your preference, on the company's preference. But in India, you can't sell more than the MSRP, and that is where I think the discount game, AI really can work well when it comes to customer favorites and the entire discount game that we do. And when assortments play into the picture and AI comes together, the combos that you can sell in different variants would really be effective as well.
So, in your stores, were you able to start any of these applications?
So we do a lot of assortments, combo sales basically. We do a lot of snacks, ethnic snacks, sweets and all. And now by the data that we have from our customers, the retail data and the e-commerce data, we know what a customer usually prefers from that particular region or demographic. Let's say if I have a customer based from the south or the north, we know that okay, this is the product if they pick, this would go very well along with them for their particular palette. And that is how we enhance our suggestion criteria with sales on e-commerce as well and retail side as well. Okay, if a customer walks in and if he's picking up this particular product, we suggest, our sales representative suggests them a certain product which is particularly gone well with that product. But it's still not done by machine learning or AI. It is still done manually by a physical person. But we've kind of figured out the product range combinations through the data that we already have.
That's very impressive. In some countries, the entrepreneurial humans can actually do the work which in other countries, even the most advanced machines are failing to do. Okay, let me just flip through a few more slides, and I think everyone will get to say something. Well, here you can see the numbers which are the benefits of the technologies in the retail. I think we are all very much familiar with the how much opportunity it is and what a massive sector we are in. We see obviously the evidence of the biggest companies investing and heavily into AI, and one of the questions is which we wanted to raise is that obviously retailers are not the technological companies first. I mean, at least most of the retailers. I mean, I know that you guys obviously are a technological company to a very large extent. At least, I mean, you started digital first, I'd say, right? And your team is very much technological enabled from the day one, but not like everyone has got this luxury. Many of the grocery retailers have got, well, the heritage, the legacy, and the burden of all this heritage and legacy. So the question which I wanted to ask is that what is the best way? Is that to do in partnership with the tech company or to do it by yourself? And we can see that even the monsters like Walmart are partnering with Microsoft on the AI. Obviously, Google is deploying their own retail tools, which are deemed to partner with retailers. Of course, so there is two ways, right? Partnership or to do it on their own. So we can see that the pace of growth of the online grocery is times and times faster than the pace of emergence of the offline grocery, right? So, given the challenge of how fast especially the grocery retailers who are in the online game need to evolve, again, the question is whether to build this competence inside the company or to partner with someone who is experts in this. So, I think here as well we can have like three groups where the e-commerce first in many occasions are developing the AI solutions to simplify their delivery models and make it faster and cheaper. Offline retailers are very much still focused on improving their offline experience as of course major share of their business is coming from the offline. Of course they must be focused on that, and that's pressure from the shareholders. And of course the omni-channel guys who are doing both of the things are combining this, and I think they're reaping the biggest benefits from the synergies of both. Now, here on this slide, we have a bit of a representation of what of those AI aspects, or technological aspects, the consultants and IT giants and e-com vendors, leading companies in this aspect mention, and what are they focusing on. We are going to obviously distribute this material so that then you can see what they are focusing on. I think for the sake of keeping the conversation vibrant, we would not like stop on this slide for long, but it's interesting to see like who is putting emphasis on what. That could be a bit of a representation of the trend, as these guys obviously proven that they can predict the trend in most occasions, right? Now, these ones are the grocery retailers and those of the e-com companies who are heavily into the grocery, as well as the non-food retail. So what we can see here is those ones who are in grocery world seem to be pushing heavily on all of the aspects of technology. And rightly so, I guess they need to do that the most, as their margins are the thinnest, as we all know here. So here I suggest like another question, which I think to a large extent we covered. So we covered like what areas of AI, what areas of the technology we are deploying in our businesses. So I think this one we to a large extent already discussed, but I think, or if anyone would like to add anything on the aspects which we covered at the beginning or light of what you've seen on the slides. Anyone feels like to add something? Yeah? Okay.
So, in which we assortment pricing, talking on the assortment side, in our stores, or I think in all the retail industry, they have products which are slow moving and the fast moving in terms of the nature. It also depends upon the seasonal availability and the seasonal trend. So, the challenge for us is also to mix and match the assortment. That means to remove the dead inventory from the system. where they're selling assortment into the system. It's also about covering the cost of your operations, also covering the cost of your business, and adding more profits to your business. So I think the assortment part is also something which needs the addressing for a retailer like us, who only works upon the sales and the margins. But we forget that there is another aspect there. But assortment should also be strong.
Thank you for this contribution. I think this is very big application of at least in our business, the AI and the technology really enabled to bring our assortment to the whole different level. I mean, across few hundred stores, you definitely cover different demographics, different demands, and the ability to have a clustered assortment, clustered target assortment, and measure what actually sells better in which areas and adjust assortment based on these inputs is becoming extremely valuable, and it becomes an inhumane task on the large scale. And then using the AI to actually suggest what products could work in those areas, that's the whole mission in itself. Again, it is not possible to do something like this with humans, simply with a human effort. And then sometimes you implement the new product, and this product performs in certain areas, but then can you really predict whether it will perform in the other areas? And here the AI also comes to help, because it can analyze the penetration of the baskets and then check who are the profiles who are purchasing these baskets, and then see whether the similar profiles are buying in the other areas, and then recommend to the category manager to push this assortment to the other areas. And if your network of stores is big enough, that's like a tremendous application. So really, thank you very much for bringing up this point. I think that adds value to the conversation. So here we have another representation of what companies are doing in terms of solutions for in collaboration with the other technology providers. And of course, so what technology providers the companies are using to solve which problems. We have like a few big names here, and I mean, most of people in the retail game would be familiar with those companies. And what I wanted to ask the audience is that those of you who run the retail business, how do you choose the technological partners? And are there any good technological partners which you might recommend? And don't hesitate to name any of our competitors. We're fine with that. So just share your knowledge of who are the tech partners who really add value to your business. So anyone who wants to go first?
So even though we're a tech company, we still collaborate. Because you always have to have a partner for something or the other. So even if we're building generative AI for helping our franchise owners to perform better, we can't also be building our own LLMs. So one of the two big partners we use is one is Shopify and the other is Freshworks. How we chose them purely is speed. We're a fast-growing young startup. For us, speed is everything, and we're growing our store count by 10 to 15 stores per month. So, where we face bottlenecks with a lot of large guys was they're too slow to implement stuff, and by the time they get approvals and decide what personalization we need, it's already too late. So, I think time efficiency is like something very important.
Anyone else want to share the experience of working with tech partners, guys?
Can't answer, what criteria I follow, but I can shed some light on what criteria should be followed. Because when you choose a partner, you need to have your calculation in your mind. What kind of solutions you are looking at. And primarily, you need to understand your problem first. So once you understand your problem, then you look for the expertise of your partner. Then the experience also counts, and then knowledge of the industry is also required. because unless somebody understands that industry, he won't be able to give you the complete solution. So I think these are the few parameters which can be applied. Maybe shed some light on this also.
Yeah, thank you. I think that's like very important to have the technological partner who is an expert in the subject matter which you're working with, right? Okay, that's like a very rather, of course.
Um, Having worked with SAP on the one side and also a startup from ground, one criteria important is in what stage of your life your business is. If you're very early stage in your business, I think it's very important to keep flexibility. Some of the outsourced large technology companies don't allow you flexibility. You are only as good as their lowest common denominator, right? And I have worked with SAP all my life, and in my own startup, we went with open source. Because you have an idea on Monday, you can implement it on Friday. If you ask SAP, it'll take all of 1 year to actually do that and cost you, $15 million. So I think you have to decide at a point of time when you grow from, even when you're growing from a startup, there are certain things which cannot be compromised. For instance, your financial system cannot be rickety, it cannot be doubtful, it must be rock solid. So the whole idea, the old idea of a monolith, one system where everything is sitting, I think is dead and gone. You can choose a good financial system, like you're using Freshworks, right? You can choose different things which are strong in different parts. So your whole picture can be like a mosaic where you choose better, for instance, your search. Obviously, you require a certain level of intelligence which you may not build, you will have it as an outsource. But maybe in the future, you will build your own search and you can build your own software. But it depends how big you are and where in the life cycle of your business. So it's a very important decision. I think while you're saying it like that, but I think it's like some of the big mistakes that startups make when they start.
This is very valuable insight, and it's like very much along the lines which you were mentioning, right? So activity is like so important here, but of course it needs to be matched to your maturity level and the stage of development. And it's like we're hearing this again and again. In fact, like everywhere around the world, and as there are some systems which are extremely great as a backbone, however, they might not be agile enough to fix something that is really emerging, that really changing, and they might not have the expertise in the market which did not exist yesterday. So, okay, I think here we definitely learned something and shared like few insights. Guys, does that seem to be like an engaging session? Everyone is getting some value out of it, yeah? Great, thank you. That's very important. We are trying to make it like valuable and interesting. Okay, so here like the one of the frameworks which we suggest to use when you are going and choosing the technological partner, let it be for the AI needs or that could be for whatever aspect of the technology you are trying to solve. And I think that here is like, I promise you, I never showed my slides to Rada yet, and he already mentioned few of them. You mentioned like two of those things, and like Rada, of course, highlighted the ownership, right? So the open source. Now you highlighted the time, right? And of course, the cost matters. I mean, the SAP bills are probably uncomparable to anything. However, the SAP puts like sort of stamp of the reliability of your business, which is very important, for example, for public listed companies. However, if your funding is not yet coming from the stock exchange, however, from the venture capital, then probably time and cost might be more important decisions. Then the other question is the ownership of data, which I think we haven't mentioned here, but this is insanely important, as especially for the grocery retailer. This is so much value there, and many of the grocery retailers these days are giving up their customers to the aggregators and to the other platforms And at the end of the day, this is the most valuable thing which you have. Like every single technological business is very much valued on how many users they have and what they know about this. As they say, the new oil is the data or the attention of those customers in the other words. And if you hold this, that is something that you can extract quite a lot of value in future. The question is only when the retailers will learn to extract this value from their massive customer base. But many of the technological companies who are boasting their numbers, they don't have that loyalty which grocery retailers have. They don't have that penetration. They don't have that trust. And retailers have all of this. They have just not yet learned to collect this data and extract value out of it. The other one is, of course, the team. Whether you trust those people who are working with you, they have the competencies to solve the problems which you have and the challenges which you have now and which you will have. Will this team be shoulder to shoulder to you when you hit the challenge which you don't yet even know about, right? As market is evolving and changing so fast. And I think that here you mentioned that you were looking at the big guys and it took them days and days, months and months to come up with the decision, with the response. And then by the time they responded to you, you were probably already either solved the problem or the problem has grown to the level where it's impossible to solve, right? So here the team is important. And of course the market fit, right? So here is whatever the technology you are implementing, we need to essentially see how the market responds and whether it's adding value or whether it's working right. And here, if you work with the experienced partner, they very much will keep their eye on the ball at all times, and they probably have multiple companies in their network and trigger the alarm if something is going wrong on this front. So that's like one of the frameworks which we suggest. Anyone would like to kind of add something to this, or maybe you see that there is something incorrect in this way of looking into it? Okay, great, thank you. Okay, now, so here, I think that the next level to this question, right? And I think that this is something that we've heard at this table. So Rada mentioned that they have gone open source, essentially build their tech by themselves. Right here, you are building quite a bit of tech by yourself. However, somewhere you said you're using Shopify, using obviously Freshbox, makes sense, like the accounting application worldwide. Now, how do companies here decide where to what to develop themselves and what actually to go with the partner? Any more examples here, or anyone would want to kind of shed some light on how the decisions are made in their organizations? Non-core is outsourced, so that's like basically how you approach. Yeah. Would you like also to mention maybe something on the? I know that you have like 13 stores, so would you like to mention how do you make decisions?
No, I think to what Radha sir said, I think he covered everything. What he said, what you should choose in taking the software ahead or the partners ahead. He's covered all the points.
Would you like to also add something to this, Akash? No?
So as Sir rightly said, it all depends on this time and scale you are at. You know where you see your company at. Is it if it's a startup, if it's a well-established business, and that's how you take decisions. So I think I totally resonate and relate with that. But being a retail company and more into food, we would rather go out and get best of best in whichever field that's possible. If it's something related to e-commerce, it has to be Shopify. If it's something related to your ecosystem, either you choose a Microsoft or Google. If it's related to your accounting, we use Zoho for some. So it's like whatever suits our needs, but it has to be open source, so you can mix all of them together. And we keep on. For us, tech is a big investment. it can't be done overnight and it can't be done. So we usually put a 5-year, 7-year vision to it. This is what we're going to use. We did make mistakes early on in the day by using softwares and things that were probably cheaper because we were at that scale. But now at this scale, we go with what's going to help us for the next 5-7 years and then make a decision accordingly.
While this is true, one of the things that startups must never do is don't think of tech like a startup. Your architecture has got to be right. For instance, if you build something which is today in the online space and it is not microservice, right, then you already have a problem. Microservice is today's known better architecture, for instance. So get a very good technologist to work with you, but it's not as if you go and choose Microsoft for that. You can use as much what you want, but the way the data flows, the way the exchange happens through APIs must be such that the architecture must be absolutely right, which will stand you in good stead even if you become a $1 billion company. So it's different of what software you use, but you're thinking about the architecture has got to be like a really good, stable, professional company.
Thank you very much for contributing to the conversation. I think those are all valuable points, and they're super valuable to me to understand how the companies actually think in this region and how we can adopt and change our messaging and our products and our offering in this market. So, okay, shall we go to the next slide now? I think here is a little bit of the research on the Indian market, and here the main factor is, of course, that puts India in the whole league of itself is its population and the fact that how young this population is, right? So really, I mean, we all know that China is a big country, but they are definitely struggling from their demographics crisis. However, definitely not the case with India, and that kind of pushes quite a lot of growth. We have done quite a bit of our own research, as well as we have talked with quite a lot of grocery retailers, and they have highlighted some of these problems, and I wonder if you can see them on this screen. No, that's not like good enough quality, yeah? Well, yeah. Actually, I mean, maybe that's going to be even like an extra fun, and everyone is going to say what are the key problems, and then we're going to distribute this one and see. I, of course, kind of very much focus on the missing items and out of stock and on-shelf availability. But I'm really curious to hear what would the representatives of the retail businesses here would name as the key problems of the retail, and which of them can actually be solved with the technology. So, anyone, guys, who wants to start? Yeah.
While I'm not technically a retailer, but from a brand perspective, one of my biggest challenges is to figure out out of stock situation. In a sense, somewhere is there a program? Is there a view where I can get live data on stock availability across? That is one big problem. Maybe to start with, it could happen with online platforms. But otherwise, is there a way? Is one big challenge always. From a brand perspective, not sure from a retailer.
These roles are very applicable to the.
That would be the case even for you guys, obviously, with so many thousands of us.
Retailers also, like this is the where we are having a lot of issues in the margins, where we lost a lot of margins, where we are overstocking, and when we are understocking, where we lose a lot of sales. But the overall sales and margin is all linked with the forecasting and inventory management.
We're an experienced store, so our biggest problem is ensuring that the customer, really gets the whole experience, the entire store, rather than just few pockets. And where are we going wrong in not entailing them to go to every experience or getting them covered with the whole experience of the store?
Our biggest problem are one is from the supply side. Fill rates are pretty inconsistent even for the national brands because they are coming up with a lot of new products every month. So which the right forecasting or prediction should be done. The second problem is customer are nowadays comparing when they are coming into physical retail. They know the online prices, what is happening, what is the online price of that brand. So as a retailer, I am not able to immediately convert that customer and convince them that my pricing is better, or I am able to offer him some kind of dynamic pricing so that I can retain that customer. He's coming to me, but he's not picking up that particular category from me because he knows that online pricing is cheap.
That's a very valuable thing, and definitely this is one of the aspects which we put quite a lot of effort in our technologies and in what we are providing. And I think we discussed like that in length with Rada. What is the product which you need provide, which you need to offer with the other one, and when is like you're offering the wrong one, and when is offering too much is actually too much. When is too much of the personalization. We have like an extensive webinar on our LinkedIn page on this subject and many other things, which I highly recommend everyone to watch. I think we have gone even a little bit overtime on this one. I hope it was valuable, right? Now, I suggest like to do a bit of closing remarks here. So we have like two questions, which is one of them is essentially what are the trends you envision, and what are the technologies. So let's think maybe everyone say like a few words before we wrap it up on whether we maybe you have come up with some other ideas in terms of the trends, or maybe this was something that you already had before, and what are the technologies which you will be focusing on in the coming months or in the coming quarters. Yeah. So let's maybe have everyone to say the closing words, and then we are going to wrap up this roundtable. So I'll start from Namit. You ready to say a few? Okay, I'll start this from this. Okay, I'll start.
I think the biggest trend that I've been speaking to a lot of retailers that emerging is franchising is a way to scale. India is a heterogeneous country. Every country, it's many countries within countries, and we built our entire model on franchising. So I think franchising tech and tech centric to empowering franchising, exercising more controls, audits. I think I've been hearing this synonymously everywhere. Is going to be the next big trend. There are a lot of problems in this space that we've already solved because we built a franchising tech company. But there are a lot of problems that we identify every now and then. I mean, one of the things that I saw was your trade promotions. A big challenge that happens is a lot of brands give you cashbacks, right? And while if it's a company-owned, company-operated store, at a centralized level, it's very easy to measure the cashback on return to vendor policies and all. At a centralized level, this is how much is due from this particular vendor, and you can offset it during your reconciliation. But at the store level, especially if it's run by franchise owners, it's actually a very big challenge. They're not as meticulous as a corporate, right? They don't have sophisticated chartered accountants, audit and accounts team. I think that is a very big challenge that if the now growth rate is going to come from franchising in retail, this is going to be a big challenge, and we all need to find solutions for this.
So from my point of view, what I see personalization is the one area where we see a lot of scope, where the recommendation algorithm using AI and ML we are using, and basis on the collaborative filtering or content filtering, that type of approach to make it more user friendly and more customer experiential journey for the customer, and as well as if you do personalization in your offers, in your promotions, automatically it will really help on the overall margin profitability and on the sales profitability. So that the same product if you're doing personalization, first thing the customer is spending more time on the screen. That is where, and you engage the customer more on the platform. Second, you are increasing the AOV size. And what we've also seen, most of the customers in while shopping from online, they always leave the cart before the normal purchase. So I think it will also help in reducing the abundant cart rate. So that is where we are seeing personalization is one area where we are seeing a good trend and where AI can really help in the overall thing.
I think obviously AI, after invention of electricity, steam engine, and internet, AI is next big thing. Among the stuff that most people have said, I think from a brand perspective, from a consumer or a customer behavior analysis, the kind of data inputs that AI would give and where it would lead, and the decisions further that we make, keeping consumer at the center of this whole space is what I think is one unique or other one differentiating space where where this will get utilized, and hence a lot of decisions from there could be taken out, and then in terms of SKUs, products, stocking, all of that could be optimized. I think that's one point. I think beyond various points that we discussed.
So I'll try and combine question 1 and 2 for you, Arjun. I know this is a question is close to your heart because you're a tech company, you're trying to make this business in India. And some color on what kind of companies are doing their business in this country. But my big thing about AI is that the other day I was one software company in President Search, for instance, was making a presentation, and I asked them, tell me one thing you presented in the last 1 hour that I cannot do with intelligent algorithm. Right? Now they're calling it AI. But man landed on the moon without a computer. When Apollo 13 landed, they just barely had a computer, and the computer was just punch cards. So it's not as if work has not been done without AI. And it sometimes reminds me that my great-grandmother used to eat millets. She never ate atta or wheat. Now we're calling it health food. AI is almost like that. That's something that's been going on a long time. Are you calling it AI? I'm not able to see AI. I'm not able to touch and feel AI. I'm not able to see application of AI from anybody. Maybe it is working in the background, but I don't know. Okay, from some of the applications. But if I were to use AI, first I have to say that where algorithm ends, AI must start. I'm not prepared to give good, sharp thinking of algorithms. What is algorithm? Algorithm is a sequence of things, how data moves and how goods move. That is algorithm building. Our whole world is full of algorithms. There is a good Netflix serial, it's called Algorithm. I think it is worth seeing. So that is as far as AI is concerned. But I think as far as the future is concerned, you are a software company. Right? And smaller companies, for instance, even if you take Navjeevan supermarket for instance, can they use your software? Yes, but most software companies say, okay, here is the software. Now you use it the way you want to use it. I think that's not the way to approach it. You have to go to them and say, here is my software, and I'll tell you how much to buy of this product. You have to give the software along this, not only the software, also the intelligence in the software. What does SAP do? SAP is like a big box of Lego toys. And all of us can go to the room and take a piece and make a castle. We'll all make different castles with the same SAP. It does not give you the logic, it just gives you the ways of doing it. So I think you have to put both questions together. Whether it's AI or just strong logic, doesn't matter. I think calling it AI, software companies are just making more money. So we have to be careful paying for AI. Unless it's a strong algorithm I can build while I am writing my own codes. My company is open source. I've written all my codes. How? Because I wrote a flow. And I wrote the algorithm. And I wrote the system. And I wrote the parameters. And my guys using Python programmed it. And it is working. So I'm not prepared to call it AI. Number one. As far as Indian companies concerned, they're very stingy. They don't want to pay for anything. They want everything free. But unless you go with a compelling software to say, if you go to Navjeevan supermarket and say, use my software, I will reduce, if you use it, my software, my inventory will come down by 20% and my margin will go up by 2%. And I would recommend all of you to use the DuPont model. I don't know how many of you have used it. The company called DuPont, it's their model. Finally, we do business for ROI. If you use a DuPont model and you fill the data in that, you can find out where your problem of ROI is. Eventually, it is about ROI. And I'm sorry, I'm just digress. You mentioned about Hindustan Lever. These FMCG companies don't love you at all. They wish you die. This is an old problem. In 1996, I opened the first supermarket. At that time, Lux on invoice margin was 8.44. Today, it's also 8.44. They don't care. So don't give them more love than you should. You must tell them, if you don't supply as per my purchase order, I will fine you. If I have ordered 1,000 pieces, you supply me 900. For the other 100 pieces, I will charge you 20% of the value. But you got to be of a certain size to be able to talk like that. But don't love them. You should love yourself more than you love FMCG company. They'll just exploit you. They won't help you win.
I think you've said such phenomenal things. But what I feel right now in relation to what Sir said was that we buy a lot of softwares for different purposes, right? But at the end of the day, when you see those softwares do certain things, but they don't give you the analytical part, they give you data, but they are not analyzing the data for you on where. In our case specifically, we've got a Power BI developer in our office who just gets those data from the software and then analyzes it, puts it on the charts, and that is how we see our dashboards and we make decisions. But can AI do that? I'm sure AI can do that. But these companies are not providing that facility of having it integrated inside the system. Well, let's say your data from your consumer is coming out and showing you directly into the dashboard in a layman format, because we are business owners, we are not tech people. We understand sales, purchase, or margins and everything. So in that format, if AI could do that, that would be really helpful. Or an integration with these softwares that we are already using, which can put simple things into our dashboards. As simple as that. That is the solution that we've been looking for.
I second Akash. I clearly written down ERP was something that came into existence 2 decades ago properly, and now if AI can be integrated with these ERPs and we can get our dashboards in a jiffy and take calls in order for the company to grow correctly and in the right path, is what AI should do for us. The software that we currently like in our company, if AI can integrate with those software rather than asking us to change the software, change the way we run the company, that would be a boon in terms of having AI in our life.
I'll start with there are 1.3 crore retailers. I don't know, might be only 1 or 2% are using the POS technology right now. So going forward, there is a lot of gap to be filled before the AI technology comes in and reaches the masses. That's what my answer will be to the first question. And for organization like us, the trend is we feel offline still. We will be having some technology to support, to service our customers who require us to service through digital channels. That will be our priority. So digital is the trend. It is trend since last 10 years. So the technology which helps us to adopt it easily and in a much hassle-free way, including like the sir mentioned, it's just not the technology, it's the implementation part. We don't have very highly trained manpower to switch to. Switching cost is very high from existing ERP to any new technology. So we need a trained manpower to first implement anything digital. So that the solution which is more pocket friendly at the same time seamlessly integrating our systems will
Sometimes being the backbencher helps. The point which I've noted basically has been covered in the entire discussion. I don't have anything to add to it. I'm very sorry about this.
Thank you. Thank you everyone for coming. Would you like to say something? Of course. Of course.
Hello everyone. Just two statements here. I'm sitting here as a spectator. I'm part of a family business based out of Dehradun, Subhada Supermarket. I'm just so glad for this discussion that I've just been a spectator to. I walk out much richer, and thank you so much for your experience and everyone's inputs. So relevant and so real, and I think with a whole lot of young entrepreneurs wanting to do a lot, and I think this is one forum I really thank you all for. I just feel very lucky to be here right now. Thank you.
Thank you for your feedback. That matters a lot, I think, for all of us, that we were able, with sharing our knowledge, our expertise, we were able to add value to people. So that, at least for me, that means a lot. Thank you so much. And thanks for taking the microphone and saying that. And guys, just that actually one of the things which I wanted to add to is we, as a tech company, we of course, we are looking to make business. That's like no secret about this. Now, one of the ways for us to make business is to bring more attention to this subject. And that's why we are doing this event. So, we are going to make a series of posts on LinkedIn, on YouTube, various channels. So, I really very much encourage all of you to share, to comment. If you come up with more ideas, obviously contribute to this knowledge base, to this information. These days, we obviously have these formats where all of us, we go to these panel discussions and there is audience, but there are a few disadvantages of that, is that not everyone can be on that audience. Now, this video can be scaled thousands and millions folds, and whatever the valuable things we were able to convey here, the people in also tier 2 and tier 3 cities are going to see. And whatever they are ready to learn something, they are going to do it. We obviously going to put our best effort into structuring it, into continuing to do it. Also, this conversation, we try to make it as deep and valuable as possible, but what we're also looking to do is to have like more in-depth conversation into specific subjects where we go deep into the grocery retail problems offline as well as online, yeah? And like in the long format, and as well to scale this through the internet so that everyone can benefit of this. And of course, we might eventually, or we might not, make business out of that, but someone will learn something, and maybe someone will get inspired by something, and then open a startup business like you did, right? So, and be a successful story. So, guys, thank you very much, everyone, for coming. I would like to also say thanks to my team who is here, Rami and Abi, thank you very much, and for making this happen. Thank you, Images Group, for organizing. And thank you everyone for coming. Looking forward to see you again. Thank you.